Just want to talk briefly about conditional statements, which I didn't get a chance to do in the lecture. So let's talk about roots of a quadratic. Have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and I'm going to let a equal 2, b equal 3, c equal 4, and I want to write a little piece of code which checks how many roots it's got. Now the way I can do that is to use an if statement. So it's going to say if this thing's true, and I'm going to use b squared minus 4ac. Of course I need to put 4 times a times c. If that thing's greater than 0, do the following code, and all I'm going to do is display a message. Now, if that is true, it'll display that. If it's not true, it'll jump out of that block of code there, and it'll look for either the word end, and I could write end there and I'd be done. But there's also the opportunity to do something if another different condition is true. So this time I'll say if that's not true but this thing is true, then I can do something else. So if b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0, notice the double equal signs. That means compare this thing with 0. If I only put a single equal sign, I'd be trying to set something equal to 0, but the double equal sign says compare this thing with 0. So else if, so if that's not true but this thing is true, then do the following. And if that's not true and that's not true, I can do something else. I could have another else if here if I wanted to, but there's only one more option, which is that b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. So I'm just going to put else disp no real roots. And then I'm going to put end, and that ends the if statement. So it's going to check if that's true. If it's not, it'll check if that's true. If it's not, it'll do that. And that's a conditional statement. That's if, else. I've got my instructions here. I've made it into an M file which I've called quad.m. I've got this little fancy bit at the top, and it's just going to ask the user to input A, B and C, so that I don't have to hard code those in. So it'll display the quadratic, it'll ask them for A, B and C, and then it'll do the if, else statements, looking at values for b squared minus 4ac. So to run it, I'm going to type quad. It's asking me for A, I'm going to put 2, B is 3, C is 4, and that quadratic 2x squared plus 3x plus 4 equals 0 has no real roots. Let's try it again. Quad. This time I'll do 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, and that one's got repeated real roots. X squared plus 2x plus 1 has repeated real roots.